Welcome to the Beyond Pain podcast with your host, Joe Gambino and Joe LaVacca. Join the two Joes, two physical therapists, as they discuss how to navigate the uncertainties of pain so you can move beyond it and get back to the activities you love most. This podcast is for Joe, and their guests to share their clinical thoughts and ideas based on their collective clinical experiences. Can this information be for you? Maybe, but we cannot know for sure. Therefore, it is always worth talking to your healthcare provider to make the best decisions in your care before you implement anything on this podcast. And please use common sense. Welcome back to the Beyond Pain podcast. I am one of your hosts, Joe Gambino. I'm here with their other host, Joe LaVacca. And today, very special guest, Cruz. He's been a trainer for 14 years, senior coach for Ladder, and in 2017, Men's Health Magazine Fittest Trainer of the Year. We all go back to Union Square, New York. So pleasure to have you on the show, Andre.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's great to see both of you. The two Joes. I love it. I don't know. The only thing I don't have,
Andre.
If I had a cup of coffee, round out the whole fucking trifecta. I got three Joes.
There we go.
The
triple
right.
Joe.
But I got some
here first.
I just got some protein, so I'll drink that instead.
That's also allowed. The Joe-tine, protein, caffeine.
All right.
We'll
you guys got to come out
man.
with a Joe-tine. That's in the future.
It's okay. On this podcast, you could be Joe Dre for today. You know, we'll round it out. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I wanted to really quickly ask you, do you keep in touch with the either gentleman or female who came in second place in the fittest competition?
No. So, yes and no. So the guy who won second place, a guy named Rain, so really fit dude from South Africa, he actually was a coach for Ladder for a couple of years. So I inked up with Ladder in the beginning, right around the pandemic time. So early summer 2020, he inked up with them shortly thereafter. And so we were with Ladder for a while. And then he parted ways, I think, in 2023, I believe. So yeah, so I know I don't like keep in touch with him outside of that, but he's a very strong and very fit dude, cool guy. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just wondering if you kept him in your phone as number two, or if that, you addressed him as such, like an evil pinky, or something like that.
No, it was honestly it was a very close competition. So it was fun. I had no anticipation of winning that thing at all. Literally that was 3 weeks after my gym had opened, and I thought I was gonna. So I opened my gym that morning, and I went to New York City, and then I had to come back and coach classes that night. So I figured I'd go there for the afternoon and then be done in a couple hours and come home. And then I end up making it into the finals, and I'm oh, well, fuck. So I called one of my coaches. Thankfully, one of my coaches was able to cover that night. So I ended up being there for 5 hours or 6 hours or something like that. And so the first event of the finals was the max height box jump, which you may have seen, but we did it conga line style, where we started at one height and then everyone went, and then we kept adding pads on top until someone couldn't make it. We got to a point where everybody missed, myself included. And then I started slapping myself, got the crowd involved, and then I made that jump. And once I made that, I'm I'm going to win. I have to win. The second event of the finals was max deadlifts at 225 pounds. And they gave me the privilege, since I had won the box jump, that I got to face all the other athletes. So I was looking at, Rain and Adrian, the guy from the black handsome dude from Peloton, and a couple of other dudes, and they're doing their deadlifts, and I'm just staring at them and going for mine. And jokingly, before it even started, I said that I was going to do 55 reps. Just kidding. Because if you remember, I think a year before that, there was a CrossFit open workout that started off with 55 deadlifts. And I was joking to Adrian, I'm going to do 55. And he was like, huh. and so I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And so I got to see everyone else drop their bars. And then I did 5 more after that. I ended up getting 60. And insane, fucking insane. And so I won that event. And so the third round of the finals was max calories on the assault bike in, I think, 2 minutes. And so I didn't sandbag it, but I didn't go as hard as I could because I thought that I had won. So I went kind of hard, and then Rain caught up to me. So then him and I had to do a final of bar facing burpees in a minute, and I beat him on that one. So it was a very close competition. He's a very fit athlete and very strong dude, and he's also a father. So shout out to, I got no bad blood for him. He's a super awesome dude.
Oh man, no, we just love starting shit on the podcast. That's all.
You guys watch those shows?
I just had a recall of Fashion Police the other day. I was telling Courtney, I was I think that was probably one of my favorite shows of all time. That was on Bravo or E. It was so funny, so much drama. Everyone was just bashing people. And that was the good old days. You probably can't make that show anymore.
No. You'd get canceled. But I don't know. I feel like you can say anything because because the president's like just like racist and
That's
terrible.
fair.
So like
That's
I feel like you can say anything that you want to these days. Really, yeah, right. No, but my wife and I started watching The Housewives during the pandemic, and now like we literally watch like all of them. So like like on the weekends we just watch trash TV. So it's great. But I've seen studies have shown apparently that if you like watch that kind of show, you're more emotionally intelligent, because like you see other people and like all of the fucked up shit that they're doing, and you're like, oh, like maybe I shouldn't. I feel like you become more self-aware when you see other people going through a lot of crazy stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they just say that to make us feel good about ourselves.
I like when my algorithm also makes me feel better about myself with all my vices. So you got to save those. Those are the ones I bookmark. You know, it's not really like, you know, information about pain or physical therapy anymore. It's like, hey, Joe, you're doing a great job.
That's nice.
Because of this. And I'm
That's
like,
nice.
yeah, I am.
Nice.
All right. Bookmark.
The algorithms are crazy though, man. Like I don't even like, I literally just use Instagram. Like I get in and I try to get out because like you get pulled into all these weeds. And like I never really go into like the discover or the For You page, whatever it is. And like one time I just clicked over to search for something, and just like on my like check this out page, it was literally all just like cleavage. And I'm like, what have I done to make you think that I want to look at all of this stuff? And like literally, I think it's just because like I'm a red-blooded male, and they're like, yeah, you want to stare at this. They try to create it so that it just becomes an addictive thing. So I get out of there 100%. As quickly as I can. But it's social media. They just got, what was that, Meta, and what, $6 million to that young lady not on social media.
First domino to fall. I was very happy about that.
Yeah. So like kids should literally not be allowed on social media. But anyway,
100% agree.
Yeah. All right,
man.
How do you talk about me now? Huh? Yeah. I guess we should shift to that. We've been going for a while.
That's fine.
Why don't we have one question, Andre, that we ask everybody. It's because we have a very loose coffee theme here. So how do you take your coffee?
Like myself, black and strong. I do like a little bit of whole milk in there though. I do like whole, yeah. Just to not necessarily to cut it, but honestly just to like cool it down. If I make coffee at home, and I'll like sit and sip and have like a big mug and a little bit of milk in there. But if I am out and about, which doesn't happen very often, I will just get a double espresso and then ask them to put a splash of milk in it so that it's not too hot, so that I can just chug it. So I more so drink it for the utilitarian purpose of just giving me caffeine versus sitting and enjoying it, because often I don't have time to do that. As I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah. I have really paled in comparison, as I've mentioned numerous times on the podcast, to the Joe Gambino family setup of brewed coffee, lattes. I was treated like a coffee king when I went to go visit Joe and his family a couple years back. Okay. And it just made me feel so bad about myself. I just came home and just kept my routine the same. I was like, I can't even compete. So I just go with the coffee, 2% milk. I like a little bit of the like that creamier side, but I don't want to go skim. That's just like putting water in that.
That is water. Great. That's just water. That's just white water.
Yeah. I'm a pure whole milk kind of guy.
But skim milk is better than almond milk, which I refer to as nut water.
Also fair.
There's no nutritional value in almond milk. It's just literally nut water. There's no protein in there. You're just like drinking a like white liquid that isn't doing anything for you. Phrasing.
So you're so wise. We have so many good clips right now already for Instagram. We didn't even get to the questions yet.
Wait, we're not in yet? Is it in yet? All right, let's go. There's another one. You guys, I feel like there should be just like a counter of like things inappropriate. Inappropriate things that Coach Andre says.
That'll come on the editing floor. We both known you for a long time, Andre. We've seen you work. We've had the privilege to work with you, and so many of us, myself and Joe included, and our guests, really started their movement journey, wellness journey, because of pain or an injury. And would you mind sharing your story around your own pain and injury and how it's maybe shaped you as both a coach and a person?
Absolutely. Injuries suck. They're the absolute worst, but honestly, it was probably the biggest blessing in my, I think, personal, professional, and athletic life. So back in 2016, I was actually down in North Carolina. I did, in fact, take my shirt off. I was hanging out with my friends, but we were down in like the NODA area, like in the Charlotte area, like drinking, having a good time. And so came back from Memorial Day weekend, and I wanted to catch up on 2 days of Catalyst squat programming. So like I came back to the gym on like a Tuesday. I'm like, I can do Monday and Tuesday back to back. I'll be fine. And so I'm going through kind of like a routine power clean and jerk at 80%, which is like 252 pounds, which is still kind of crazy. And I just like felt something weird in my back, dropped the bar, and then like lights out. From that point on, I was literally in agonizing pain so much that I felt broken anytime that I physically tried to stand upright. I couldn't stand upright for more than 30 seconds at a time without like truly excruciating, debilitating pain. So from that point, I reached out to you, Joe, because you were working with CrossFit Union Square at the time. And I started seeing you once a week, and you gave me lots and lots of homework to do. And my workouts changed from me trying to go to the gym and set a new personal record every single time, which I used to do for a while. And it changed from me literally doing mobility and soft tissue work for 60 minutes and then just repatterning all of my lifting movements with an empty barbell or a PVC pipe and not lifting anything heavy for about 6 months. The only thing that I really could do was I could do heavy bench press. I did a lot of strict gymnastic movements. I did bodyweight movements. I did assault bike. I couldn't row because like even rowing hurt my back. And like I was legitimately concerned that I was going to have to quit being a trainer because like I was like, I can't even stand up for a long time. Like when I'm training clients, I was literally sitting at the bottom of a squat. And that was the only position aside from being horizontal that did not hurt my back. But was very patient with it, did my mobility on a daily basis, saw Joe like once a week or so, and then started taking things like glucosamine. I started doing acupuncture. And then all of a sudden, magically, not magically, but like through the process, after about 6 months, I eased back into lifting and I just didn't have that pain anymore. So I got back into it, kind of eased back in, wasn't trying to break any weight records, but it just so happened that one of the first workouts of the CrossFit Open that year started with 55 deadlifts at 225 pounds. And I'm like, fuck. But I went into it. I took my time. I got through the workout and survived. And then later that year, I just started PRing lifts left and right. So I got my snatch from like a very inconsistent 225 up to 270. I got my clean up to, I think, 335 or 340. I deadlifted 581 pounds that year. I won Men's Health Magazine's Fittest Trainer that year where I deadlifted 60 deadlifts at 225 unbroken without a belt. I opened my gym that year. So like so many things happened to me that year that physically would not have happened if I didn't like take time to fix myself. And so that completely changed my own philosophy from training. And then also as a trainer, I don't yell at them, but like I literally tell my clients all the time, be a fucking adult and stretch, because it's not cute to be like, oh, well, my back hurts or my knee hurts or my elbow hurts. Oftentimes you're in pain because you're just not doing mobility and soft tissue work. Like we have to treat mobility and soft tissue work the same way that we treat brushing our teeth. You don't have to spend an hour every day, but if you spend 5-10 minutes just working on any problem areas you have on a consistent basis, on average, you will not have to go to the dentist and get your cavity or your teeth pulled, whatever it might be, right? So I kind of changed my philosophy from like lifting as heavy as possible all the time to move well, lift heavy, breathe hard, in that order. And I'll be 40 this summer, and I've been injury-free ever since. And that was like literally 10 years ago that it happened. So here we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing me back to life, Joe. Frankenstein.
Way to go, Joe.
Yeah. I don't know if I had much to do with it. I mean, your mindset there that you were highlighting is such an important part of all this. And the way you even prefaced it before you started that story was the gift of injury. And so many athletes and clients, and you know this working with people for as long as you have, don't necessarily share that mentality around it. Where do you think your mentality with that came from? Because there was nothing there that I had to instill in you. It was just natural.
I think I'm just not a dumb person. I don't know. Just it only makes sense. Like you did a good job of explaining to me where my weaknesses were. So I remember there was one of the things you had me doing where we were on the table and you had me like just trying to develop proprioception in like my glutes and my lower back. So I'd always been able to lift relatively heavy weights, but I didn't have a lot of awareness in like the little tiny muscle groups in my back. And you helped me to realize that, oh, like I'm sore sitting here on a box, like extending my leg and doing like the hip cars. And I'm like, whoa, like these are little muscles that I never even knew. So I looked at it as an opportunity to just get better at things that I'm not good at currently. And I knew that if I took time to fix myself, I could come back better, stronger, faster, harder to kill, and all those things. So I think you were just a good teacher, and you explained things in a way that wasn't, I feel like some physical therapists and some people can be like, well, you're hurt, so you can't lift weights. You never told me that I wasn't allowed to lift weights. You're like, okay, we need to modify things. We need to approach things in a different mindset. But you more so empowered me versus telling me that you're injured and you should stop doing all of these things. And I think that was really for me like, okay, I can really make this my own, get stronger, get better, and hopefully never have to deal with this kind of junk again.
Very nice.
That's awesome, man. That's great. To hear you now and see you now, it's so cool. And
You're blushing over there.
I'm really looking forward to hearing more about it, man.
Yeah, man.
Really looking forward to hearing more about it.
So you were mentioning earlier, move better, lift heavy, breathe harder. With your old philosophy, I know you like to do a bunch of like 1RMs, but how was your philosophy when you were training then to what does it look like now? Maybe just dive deeper into programming in general.
Sure. So back in the day, the goal was just to try to lift as heavy as possible, trying to set PRs literally every time that I went into the gym. And then when I broke my back, when that happened, it changed to, okay, how can I continue doing this and be able to live my life productively, get stronger, but also not break myself? Because as I mentioned, I legitimately was concerned that I was not going to be able to be a trainer anymore. I thought I might have to like go back to working in the corporate banking world and be like a fat, chubby, pear-shaped man with an ugly mustache. Well, when I opened my gym in 2017, I programmed differently than the traditional CrossFit box. So traditional CrossFit box, you'll go in there and there'll be like a WOD or workout of the day. And for all intents and purposes, a lot of folks that program for CrossFit, they just try to make workouts that are hard and they focus more so on the variance and the difficulty versus actually trying to help members progress in a safe and effective way. And I've always had a business mindset. I got my degree in finance from University of Pittsburgh. And just from a sheer member retention and attendance standpoint, if I come to the gym and I'm just trying to crush people on a daily basis without actually teaching them the foundation of sound movement with progression, then members might like it in the beginning because they're doing something different every day, but they're not necessarily going to get stronger and they're more prone to potentially get injured. So I started programming every single day on a very structured basis. So instead of having it be kind of a free for all on any given day, I broke out my week into different lifts. We start every single lifting session with a major lift. So for example, we would do front squats on Mondays, and then we would follow just a, kind of non-linear-ish progression on those building up to a goal at the end of any given, 8 to 12 week cycle. So oftentimes building up to some form of 1 rep max or 3 rep max or 5 rep max. And then Tuesday would be like a push press or an overhead press. Wednesday would be like a power clean. And I kind of followed that on all the different days. And then after going into the major lift, we would do a metabolic conditioning block or an EMOM that supported and accessorized and overloaded that primary muscle group of the day. So it was CrossFit-ish where I would still pepper in the 21-15-9. I would keep the intensity relatively high on the metabolic conditioning blocks, but there was structure built in such that we had a very good warm up at the beginning, went into our major lift where we gave people, 15, 20 minutes to build up to whatever sets they needed to for the day. Then we would break out and then go into the metabolic conditioning blocks to really hammer away. And I always made sure to end every session with at least 5 to 10 minutes to do a little bit of mobility and soft tissue work. Because once again, if members are injured, they're not going to come back. And eventually they're going to cancel their memberships. And once again, I don't want that blood on my hands. Knowing how bad an injury is, I don't ever want anyone who works under me to have to experience anything like that. And so that's how I programmed everything for my gym. And then I launched my program Cruise Control on the Ladder app in 2020. And I really kind of followed that same blueprint. And I still am following the same blueprint today. We don't really lean into the CrossFit side of things, but we still do start every day with a major lift following progressive overload. And then we go into functional bodybuilding supersets, EMOMs, and we do a little bit of metabolic conditioning, especially on leg days. But yeah, like the whole idea is I want everyone to get stronger and live longer for their families. We do focus on, hitting personal records, but that is more of a side goal versus I want everyone to be able to come to my program and do what's going to be challenging for them. So I do percentage-based progressive overload. So for example, this week in the program, we built up to 3 rep maxes around 90% on all of our major lifting movements. So my 90% is going to look different than someone else's 90%. It's not based on like effort or RP. It's literally based off of, hey, what's your lifetime 1 rep max? Base it off of that. If you don't know what your 1 rep max is, you can either build up to something heavy by feel, or I give options for folks that have limited equipment. So maybe you're doing 3 sets of 10 with a tempo on your deadlifts instead of building up to something that's really heavy. But my goal is I want everyone who comes into my program, whether they are a seasoned athlete or a 70-year-old with a bad back, I want everyone to feel welcome and give them the ability to build muscle and strength and functional movement so that they can live longer and be there for everyone in their lives that relies on them.
That's awesome, man. And that sustainable consistency, I think, what I'm hearing is so important. And the PRs will come because you keep showing up, right? And even if you don't know it, well, okay, maybe that tempo goes a little bit longer. Maybe you're adding a set, maybe you're adding a few reps. But each week, if you're able to stay healthy and be consistent, good things tend to happen. So now with that mindset of, your injury shaping you, adding in this mobility work and the way that you're structuring your program, it's so eclectic, right? Like I can join, it seems like my dad can join.
Yeah.
In your mind, are there prerequisites to be successful with the program, regardless of maybe how experienced I am or my dad is? Is there something that you think is a standard for people to get into this idea of fitness and cross training or barbell work,
Yeah.
you name it?
I started my program in 2020 during the pandemic under the premise of all you need are 2 dumbbells and a positive attitude. The same thing can be said today. And the second thing is more important than the first thing. Whatever equipment you have, I don't care if you're out and all you have are a couple of gallons of water, or if you have a couple of like a kettlebell, a barbell, whatever it is. If you show up with a positive attitude and a willingness to do hard things and a willingness to be a student and learn how to move properly and to check your ego at the door, then you can come to the program and you can do amazing things. I mentioned people in their 70s. I literally have a member in my program, Bernie. He's 75 years old. At a couple of weeks ago, he set a lifetime personal record of pressing 102 pounds over his head for 2 reps. He'd never done over 100 pounds over his head in his entire lifetime. I have another member, Lynn. I think she's a 62-year-old grandmother. She can do like 6 or 7 pull-ups. She did a farmer's carry for a full minute holding 185 pounds, and she weighs like 135 pounds. So it is really awesome and empowering to see folks from all different walks of life coming into the program and crushing it. And then also on the other side of things, I have a guy named Cornelius who is in the military, big, strong black dude, and he bench pressed. So we do the supine grip bench press, supinated, so like underhand grip to kind of like save a rotator cuff. And he like repped out, I think, 325 pounds for 3 reps the other day. Like he literally had a birthday and like he was like, what better way to celebrate my birthday than to like rep out 325? And just like one of the strongest pressers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So it's really cool having people from all different walks of life in the program, getting stronger, whatever that happens to mean for them.
Very cool. I love that. It's great that you're able to work with so many people, and I love the empowerment process to everything. On this note of being, like positive, have this positive attitude, obviously the people who listen to this have pain. For somebody who may want to do these kind of things, like really push their body and do things, but maybe they have some like nagging things going on. What are your suggestions for that person so that this way they can kind of like stay in the gym, and almost like maybe empower themselves to feel like they can push forward?
Yeah, I think the key is just to remember that you have an entire body, right? If your right shoulder is messed up, maybe you have an impingement, maybe you have something going on with your rotator cuff. Studies have shown that if you train your non-injured limb throughout an injury, then your bad side will prevent atrophy, right? So, hey, follow the exact same program that I'm programming for folks, but instead of using a barbell, you're using a single dumbbell or a single kettlebell, doing all of the pressing, doing all of the pulling, challenging yourself as much as you can. And then in the meantime, making sure that you're doing mobility and soft tissue work. And once again, treating that as if it is your primary workout. When my back was jacked up, I didn't start lifting every day. The start of my workout was me sitting on the floor and doing hip cars and soft tissue work with a lacrosse ball and stretching for 60 minutes. And then I would go into my lift. So don't think you can't work out just because one part of your body is injured. Okay. And like, think about all the people out there in the world who are differently able, people who are literally born without legs, people who are literally born without a limb. They're still coming to the gym. I don't know if you remember Dylan Bader from CrossFit Union Square, but he was a dude who was literally born and like his arm was cut off. Like he was just born without having a limb from like the elbow down. And he would still come to the gym and do like split jerks with a barbell and cleans and back squats and front squats. He was doing all of the stuff. He had like a little thing that he could attach to his arm to do deadlifts and things, but he showed up with a positive attitude and made it happen no matter what. Back injuries, I think, are really mentally kind of a mind fuck because you feel like everything that you do hurts. But once again, I had a really significant back injury and I still was able to do stuff. Just know that you're not dead. And as long as you are breathing, you can find a way to modify your workouts, and don't compare your injured status to what you were able to do when you were healthy. I always tell people not to compare your chapter 1 to anyone else's chapter 21 or 101, and don't compare your injured self to your prime self when you were, a 27-year-old dude who didn't have kids and was sleeping 8+ hours a day and you could do whatever the hell you wanted to. Like, of course you were able to lift all of the weights and crush all of the PRs because like you didn't have any like real life going on. And you have to take pride and really celebrate all the small victories. This is the heaviest thing that I've lifted since I injured my back or my shoulder. This is the best technique I've had on my clean, even though it's, 100 pounds less than I am used to lifting, right? So celebrate all the small victories, and once again, just be grateful that you woke up, because there are people all around the world who are not as fortunate. People who woke up in hospital beds with ventilator tubes shoved down their throat, people who are paralyzed from the waist down, people who literally are waking up in war zones, like getting bombed right now. So there's so many things that we could complain about, but if you are alive, if you are breathing, if you have an able body and a sound mind, that is a blessing and a gift, and go to the fucking gym.
Amen, Andre.
Yeah.
Amen, man.
Yeah.
I think shifting that perception and that mindset is so hard for people, right? Because they build up this identity of being able to do a 500-pound deadlift, a 325-pound reverse grip bench press, and then all of that work seemingly goes away at the blink of an eye. And I'm sure, as you found too, sometimes not even doing heavy weight, it's lighter weight for
Yeah.
you, it's a lighter weight for them, and it almost doesn't seem fair. And I think what you said there is really empowering in the sense of, hey, think about all the things you can do, right? And that's seemingly in your story what really helped you. Like, I could still do upper body, I could still do this, I can control my situation. And I do like that analogy of the chapters. So thanks for sharing that. Like, chapter 21 is going to look different than chapter 22 because it's a continuation of your journey, right? We're not rewriting the past, and we're always moving forward. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, think about Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises, right? Like, Bruce Wayne, peak Batman, jumping off of buildings, kicking ass, beating the Joker, and then he turns into like an old crippled man with no cartilage in his knees. Then he breaks his back, and he's in, now you have my permission to die. Like, and then he climbs out, and then he comes and saves the day, right? So we have to just, once again, be happy that we're alive and well, and keep showing up. And you did a very good job of educating me in saying that it wasn't just one thing that. It wasn't one straw that broke the camel's hump. Injuries are not caused because of one thing. And, I've been a trainer for 14 years now. You guys have been doing this for a very long time. You know that whenever someone comes in, they're like, oh, well, I was at the gym and I did like this one rep and like, I messed up because I was doing a hang clean and I'm not used to the technique. Like, no, motherfucker. It's because you sit on your ass for 12 hours a day and you don't stretch or ever do soft tissue work, right? You said that all injuries and strains are built up from thousands of micro tears that happen from repetitive movement over months, years, and once again, tight muscles that build up. So, like, that is, I think, what I always educate my people. It wasn't just because of this one thing that you did. And it often is not going to be oftentimes when you're going for a true 1 rep max or PR, like, you're really focused, you're primed. It's when you're doing sub-maximal stuff that you're like, I don't have to stay super tight. And then that's when your back's like, oh, it's when you bend down to pick up a tissue and you're like, oh no, but it's because you have not stretched in 20 years. That's why you messed yourself up.
Right. And we say it all the time. And I think Joe was the first person that I've heard like can kind of continue this sentence, but it's usually too much too soon after too little for too long. And, most of the time, a lot of my clients strain something or feel something in an ill manner when they were late to the gym, they were late to the class, they're rushing to get dressed, they're rushing to start their program. They only have 15 minutes until, they have to catch their train. So it's always a rush. They skip the rest. So, those little variables matter, warm-ups matter, the rest matters, even though you feel like you're doing nothing. I always tell clients too, like in my hour workout, if I was like really editing all my working sets, I probably get to like 6.5 minutes in an hour. most of the time I'm just standing around doing nothing. I'm listening to music. I'm on Spotify. I'm trying to find the next best track that's going to bring me through the summer or something like that. And I'm like, oh, cool. It's time to lift again. So definitely appreciate that. Your message now, at least what I see so consistently from you that I've enjoyed, is advocating to be fit parents. Obviously fit dads because you're a dad. But to those listening who have kids, the one thing they always tell me and Joe, and I'm sure you, is I don't have the time.
There's no
Where
time.
do I find the time? But how do you find the time, or how do you convince them to it? And why is it so important for our children to see us training and taking care of ourselves?
There's a lot of layers to this question. Let's start with just the very basic. So none of us have time. We're all tired. Who cares? You have to prioritize it because we literally know that muscle mass, particularly in your legs, we know that heart health, we know that grip strength, we know these are all things that are literally correlated to your longevity on this earth. And if you are a parent and you truly give a shit about your kids and potentially your grandkids in the future, you will do whatever you can to help yourself have a stronger and longer life here on this planet. So like if you can't find motivation as a parent, like why, like fix yourself. We should all be intrinsically motivated to try to do things to make ourselves be more available and to be better for not only our kids, but potentially our grandkids in the future. So that's like the motivation aspect of it. The time part is very real. It is incredibly hard, especially if you are married couple or even if you're not married, and you work and you have kids, it doesn't matter. It is very, very hard to physically find time. And one question that I get often is, when can I work out? When should I work out? I always tell people, you have to get up early. You have to get up early. And you don't have to do it every single day. And also, you don't have to spend 3 hours in the gym. We're not training for Mr. Olympia or the Arnold or anything like that. All the workouts in my program are about 45 minutes. You can do them with 2 dumbbells and a positive attitude. If you're not lifting very heavy, you can honestly decrease your resting time in between your sets and get workouts done in like 30 minutes if you want to. So I tell people to start, what your work schedule is on average, right? Go into your work calendar and then schedule 3 workouts a week. Don't try to do it all at once, okay? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, schedule them on your recurring work calendar and treat them like they are part of your job. You wouldn't miss a meeting with your boss or a sales call or an investor meeting or a project team meeting because you're tired or because you're hungover or because you simply don't feel like it. If you treat your health and fitness like it is your most important job, then you will be successful. And once again, start very small. So get up an hour early, 3 days a week. I don't care how tired you are, you can make that happen. Have your workout clothes set up, ready to go, so you can go directly down to your gym or your garage and just get after it. And once again, don't feel like you have to move the world. The main thing that you have to do is make this a habit. So once you've done your 3 workouts 3 times a week, let's call it for 30 minutes, great. It becomes a habit after roughly a month. So after 4 to 6 weeks, then hey, maybe you're going to either add a day or maybe you're going to increase the time. Maybe you're going to make it 45 minutes of a workout. And then now you're in the habit of getting up early. Maybe you're getting up an extra 10 or 15 minutes early to make that happen, whatever it might be. But you have to layer things in. I think too much too soon is what a lot of people do. They get caught in this trap of, okay, it's all or nothing. If I'm not working out 5 days a week for an hour plus, then I'm not going to be able to reach my goals. No, it is all about integrating things into your life so that it becomes a sustainable habit that is consistency. I talk to people all the time in my program about the long con in fitness, consistency. If you can just be consistent showing up, you don't have to fall for all of the actual cons of, well, you need TRT, you need peptides, you need steroids. No, you just need to fucking go to the gym and not eat like an asshole, right? And walk a little bit more. That's really what everyone needs to do. We all need to lift weights 3 to 5 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes. Compound functional movements that recruit multiple muscle groups instead of going to a gym and then sitting on a machine and bending and extending your arms or legs for a couple of sets, resting. Get up, squat, move your body. You'll get a much more effective workout just squatting a gallon of milk in your garage than you would driving 15 minutes to the gym and sitting on a leg press machine and loading it up with all of the plates, right? And it's a much more efficient use of your time. So start small, create those habits, start to make better choices. We know that we shouldn't be eating McDonald's and fried food and all the other things you can get on Uber Eats and DoorDash every single day. Try to eat fruits, vegetables, meat, nuts, seeds, drink more water. Try to sleep as much as you can. I know for most parents, for myself even, it's not something that you can necessarily control, but try to control what you can, walk more, and in time, it will become a virtuous cycle where you will start to see yourself, your clothes will start to fit better. Your weight might not change, but like you'll feel like, hey, I'm getting some stuff here. My pants are fitting a little bit better. I feel like I have more energy. And when you work out, we know that we're releasing endorphins, so it makes you feel good. You feel accomplished. So I think people just have to start small and then stick to the process and then add layers of weight and intensity and load and all that stuff. Thank you. And yeah, that's all we got to do. Just like show up for your family and do it one step at a time.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's a lot of really good things that you said in there. Consistency being a big one that we talk about here. And I think your point on like the time is hard and like prioritizing it, I think to your point, like starting small is like the way to go. But
yeah,
people, I think, mentally have a really hard time with that. Like they know like, oh, I need to be in the gym 5 days a week for an hour, and like whatever their standard is what they kind of tie to. And it's very hard to take them away from that and do something imperfect to get the ball rolling. So.
Yeah. Like something is better than nothing. And also like you don't have to wake up early. Like if you can commit to working out after your kids go to sleep, cool. Mm-hmm. Do that. Like I have people in my program who, sometimes work out at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night because that's after their kids and that's like their free time. Cool. Like you don't have to always be up at the crack of dawn because I know everyone's not a morning person, but you just have to schedule it and you have to treat it like it is gospel and just show up.
I am not one of those people who can do workouts at night. I have to wake myself up early, even though I don't want to get it in. Wake up, take my time getting out of bed, a little pre-workout. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. It's the only way these days.
Yeah, the night is only for the pit. That's when we watch our TV shows and get caught up at maybe if there's no new episode, I'll read a book or something. But clearly, I need my no wild time at night, and if I don't get it, I'm very grouchy come the next day.
I've heard that show's very good. So I went to University of Pittsburgh. So like I appreciate all things Pittsburgh.
I brought it up because I know that. I was like, I wonder if you were a Pitt guy. But one of the things I always would tell people with their schedules, and a lot of people would come in, potentially see me, you or Joe, especially if they're an in-person client, maybe at least once a week, right? And as they continue to come consistently, let's say it's 4 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever it is, and they start to go, quote unquote, out on their own, I always tell them, keep this appointment in your calendar, even though you're not coming. You've shown yourself that PM Mondays is very consistent for you and nobody bothers you. And it's been 2 months. So just keep putting on your work calendar, physical therapy. And then maybe when you don't come, you could put a little winky face emoji because it's going to be you in your gym or you in your office doing some sort of body weight work or tempo-based work. Or, the thing I valued most about seeing you train and learning from Ross, who I still work with, is you can really program a lot of these rehab exercises like an imam. Yeah. If you don't have time to take care of your shoulder, cool. I want you to do, shoulder cars for 30 seconds. And then on the next minute, you're going to do a shoulder isometric for 30 seconds. And then on the next minute, you're going to do a push-up hold or a plank for 30 seconds. Boom, there's your rehab. You got it done in 3.5 minutes and you are still in home time to cook dinner, play with your kids, and your tissues don't really care. They just need that stimulus. Yeah. So I think that's where those worlds can really blend and really help one another out from both the pain and the performance side.
Absolutely. I think so many adults need some form of gamification to to do all the work. Like in the LaVacca platform, I have I think 5 or 6 different mobility sessions. So one of them is 25 minutes, another one's 15 minutes, and then I literally just wrote 3 or 4 of them that are just very specific to 9 minutes for your elbow, 7 minutes for your shoulder, 7 minutes for your knee. So you're just hammering away at that area. And I'm like, guys, I know that you're you see a 25-minute stretching workout. You're not going to do that. Hey, just press play on this one. You'll be in and out and your knee will start to feel better if you just start to do this after every leg day, or if you have chronic pain, doing this every day. So we have to layer it in, and I feel make it accessible, because everyone once again has that, it has to be it has to be 60 minutes or I'm not doing anything. No, you can get in, get out in a few minutes, but just do a little bit every day and you'll be better on average.
Love it. Love it. I mean, Andre, it's been great having you on the show. I want to be respectful of time here. I don't know if Joe has any more questions, but I'll leave that to Joe. And if not, take the floor. Let our listeners know where they can find you, how they can work with you, all the fun stuff.
You can just talk shit if you want to for another
50. Yeah, man. No, I echo Joe's sentiments. I think that There's so much on the table here that we can still pick your brain with. So I'd love to do another like part 2 with you sometime in the future.
Sounds great.
And talk about all sorts of things. Because you brought up a couple things that, we could probably open a can of worms with the TRTs and the peptides and all these recovery tools. And so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. But for now, where can our listeners find you? How can they get on cruise control? How can they start deadlifting 581 for reps?
No, I can't
tell us all the information.
So it's funny enough. So 581 the year after I got injured, and then I didn't PR my deadlift again until 2023. I pulled 590 for one. So that's my lifetime one rep, but I haven't touched that since then. But it was like after becoming a dad, so I'm like, that's a true PR. Like I did it as a sleep deprived dad, so let's go. Funny enough, I thought the bar had 600 pounds on it, but my math was wrong because I slept like 4 hours the night before. But no, so you can find me on the Instagram. It's just my name at Andre Cruz, ANDRECREWS. And then directly from the link on my profile, you can get a free week to the ladder program. They are the exact same workouts that I do in my driveway or garage. And once again, they are about 45 minutes, and all you need are 2 dumbbells and a positive attitude. And once you're in ladder, you might not find that you like me, but we have 20 of the best coaches in the world. We have literally a yoga program. We have 2 Pilates programs. We have a body weight only program. We have high rocks specific training programs. And once again, we have an entire ladder flex category that's full of mobility and soft tissue workout that you guys can do on a regular basis. And also we have nutrition tracking there. So would love to have you can literally just use your phone, take a picture of your phone, and using AI, it calculates your macros and calories and all that stuff. So find me there. I'm also on TikTok. I don't use TikTok as much. That's like a young man's game. But I think my handle on TikTok is at Andre Cruise Control, something like that. Yeah, find me on Instagram and then and
figure it out from there.
Yeah.
I will leave you with this, Andre. My wife, she does not follow fitness, rehab, none of that. She follows me. She follows Joe. Maybe Perfect Stride, and she follows Andre Cruz because she enjoys the content. So yes,
is it because of like my dad content?
Yeah. She just
no, it's because you're training with your shirt off, Andre. That's why.
Probably, okay, I'll talk about it anyway. I kept my shirt on the whole time, and I have long sleeves on today. It's cold here. It's northern weather.
It's not going to do. The shirtless would have been better for our YouTube growth, though.
Well, we'll do another podcast and we'll talk about like TRT and steroids, and I'll take my shirt off. And be like, you don't need it. Look, you can still pop your pecs. What's funny about social media, and like you talk about like growing social media and the struggles. So for the longest time, my thing was like I would just work out shirtless. You saw me at CrossFit Union Square, like I literally never had a shirt on, and like for a while, like that worked. But I saw the most explosive growth on my Instagram when I just started talking while I was walking my dogs. And like, there's like not me trying to say, hey, like come do my workout program. Here's me deadlifting this. Here's me bench pressing this, doing muscle ups or handstand walks. Here's me talking while I'm walking in a weight vest with my 2 golden retrievers. And I'm talking about how my son hasn't let me sleep in 4 years. Like that is the stuff that people have been like, yeah, this guy is awesome.
This guy gets it.
Yeah. Like no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit that I can like lift weights. Like that's not like my wife doesn't care about that. But like what is impressive is that I'm able to do the things that I can do, and I'm also a sleep deprived dad. So for anyone out there on the social media world who is trying to grow or do whatever, be as authentic as you can, and also just talking. I think those videos are doing better now than because like there's so much AI. You don't know if like who's actually like lifting weights. Right. Like if you can actually show that you're a person and you have feelings and not everything is honky dory, then like you'll do well. So talk shit about your kids. It's great.
That was the biggest engagement I always got too from Strength in Motion was whenever I posted that I was with Avery on the weekends. We were going on a walk. We were taking her to soccer games. And then it was like, boom. I was like, I think everyone in Instagram thinks that Strength in Motion is a PT practice for single dads.
That's
and not has anything to do with anything else. But hey, look, maybe I need to crack something, and you just gave me the inspiration. But Andre, man, thank you so much. It was great to reconnect with you. And we loved having you on. Joe, we love you. Listeners, we love you. Thank you for listening to another exciting episode of the Beyond Pain podcast. And don't forget to tune in next week when we'll be back with even more.